Just so we're clear, this is what Americans voted for en masse. A Epstein confidant, a fascist, a man who will tax us into oblivion, a cheat, a thief. His wife, nowhere in sight in this video, his loyalist close by. The harm he is about to do so billionaires can make more will be earth-shattering.
Trump's win was simply that big. His previous win in 2016, that was a fluke. This was victory. The American people voted for Donald Trump because the majority of them wanted him to be president. And, considering the fact that he's been convicted of many crimes, there are many unsavory things about him. I don't need to list any of them. The fact that he was elected anyway, that is something genuinely new in American politics. And that means we are about to enter a brand new political universe. So what exactly is that universe going to be? Well, to an extent, we already know because he said what he's going to do. He's going to pack the courts with arch conservatives. He's going to deregulate businesses. The rich will receive tax breaks and the poor will receive the cold hand of the free market. Trump ran on a platform, an explicit platform of dismantling and transforming the federal government. And he surrounded himself with this comically ludicrous goon squad of people like Stephen Miller, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Elon Musk to help him do it.
Through these trying times, comedian, activist, writer, and podcaster Adam Conover is a breath of fresh air and remains a must-watch.
Should Ukraine prepare for less aid from the United States after you're sworn into office?
Yeah, probably. Sure.
And this is what we are in store for once again. A man bought and paid for who sucks up to authoritarians and wants to be in the dictator club doing Vladimir Putin's favors.
He has the Senate, and he could very well have the House as well. In fact, it looks likely that he will. And that has given him maybe not a mandate, but the supreme ability to transform America in exactly the ways he said he's going to. And, I'm still grappling with it, as many of us are, because what that means is that we now live in Trump's America. This racist, sex-abusing, plutocratic, transphobic narcissist used to be an aberration in American politics, a virus that we were trying to hope the immune system would suppress. But now, Trump is American politics. He is the body politic itself. And the changes that he makes to this country are going to be with us for a long, long, long time.
Conover sees through it, as we all should, on his show, Factually.
Donald Trump leads Vice President Kamala Harris in the popular vote, by just 1.4%. This is one of the narrowest margins in modern history.
And even with this slim margin, it shows what many Americans wanted. In return,
the election of Donald Trump has caused a real reckoning for those on the left. The Democratic Party took its best shot. They said that Trump was bad 1,000 ways. People voted for him anyway. And the question is, what's next? In an era where Democratic politics has completely failed, how is the right wing to be defeated? And what do we need to build in order to do so?
With loss breeds opportunity. It is clear a stronger coalition on the left with a populist agenda could fare quite well, and Conover has some thoughts.
What about an economy in which we join the rest of the industrialized world, guarantee health care to all people as a human right, and where we don't pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs? Those are the issues.
Is it really hard to understand? Instead, we have the results of 16, 20, and 24 because corporate Democrats are utterly useless.
Well, one observation that's been made all over the place is that there's been a death of mass membership organizations in America, that the sort of organizations that used to organize politics for working people, unions, churches, a lot of others have declined in recent years, and that we've built a political culture that just asks us to vote, asks us to donate, and asks nothing else of us. And a political culture specifically dominated by two main parties that have been in place for decades. People are craving something new.
Indeed we are, but we also know what is needed. Unfortunately, new is relevant because it's been lifetimes. without good policy that serves us.
You retweeted a post by Bernie Sanders that said, yes, we waste hundreds of billions a year on healthcare administrative expenses that make insurance CEOs and wealthy stockholders incredibly rich, while 85 million Americans go uninsured or underinsured. Healthcare is a human right. We need Medicare for all. That's not really going to happen.
And this is the problem with corporate media. Why can't it happen? Why do you think it won't happen? It's because they benefit from it not happening. And we take this notion as fact when it is anything but. Thus,
there's a long-standing craving for third parties, an effective third party that could actually change our political culture. And there's a craving for a new kind of politics itself that actually represents the needs of the actual people who are voting. A politics that doesn't just ask us to vote, but that involves us in the struggle to build a better country. So what would that kind of politics look like? And what could a third party that practices that kind of politics look like?
Conover asked the question we are all interested in. What does the future look like when the shackles of corporations and capitalism drive the electorate into damn near poverty, if not death, by buying up lawmakers that only benefit them?
Are you going to pressure Prime Minister Netanyahu, with whom you have a very good relationship, to end the war in Gaza?
Yeah, sure.
And have you already started that process?
I want him to end it, but you got to have a victory. People forget about October 7th.
Quite a pivot. Masterful, even. It's like AIPAC gave him the script and he carried it all the way home to its final word.
After the October 7th terrorist attack against Israel that was led by Hamas, Israel declared war on Hamas. But in effect, that war has been against the people of Gaza themselves, the Palestinians. And you only have to look at the numbers to figure that out. Since the war began, 44,000 Palestinians have been killed and countless more have been injured or displaced. And even though Israel has killed two of Hamas's top leaders, that has not ended the war. It keeps going. In fact, it has recently expanded to Lebanon, and there are fears of a wider regional war breaking out. Now, activists in the US and around the world have been demanding a ceasefire, an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza for a long time now. But all that has come of that demand has been a bitter debate over what are the appropriate limits of protest, should one protest on a college campus or not, and other like that, while the war and the devastation and death continue. And now that Donald Trump has been elected, there's no more reason to believe that it is going to end anytime soon.
Conover speaks on the issue and then interviews Professor Rashid Khalidi on the matter, which is once again a must-watch video on his show.
As Sheriff of Los Angeles County, I believe together we can make a difference and right these wrongs.
Are there gangs within the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department?
They operate as a gang. They commit crimes. They assault people.
Let's do a quick run through of the gangs of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. All of them have stuff in common. You usually have official gang tattoos, a hand signal, and a way to join, usually by shooting or killing a civilian or doing something like falsifying paperwork. There are the Little Devils, Posse, the Wayside Whiteys, the 2000 Boys, the 3000 Boys, the Jump Out Boys, the Banditos, the Executioners, the Spartans, the Cowboys, the Rattlesnakes, and the Tasmanian Devils.
And on this subject,
you know, there's a really weird thing about law enforcement in America. We have a structure that almost no other country does. In many parts of this country, you'll have a police department, the leader of which is appointed by the mayor, right? But then you will separately also have a sheriff's department, which does basically the same thing, except that the sheriff is an elected official who's accountable to no one but himself, or herself, but really mostly himself. The Los Angeles Sheriff's Department is famous for being the largest sheriff's department in the country, but it's also famous for its rich tradition of scandal, corruption, and violence. One recent sheriff, Lee Baca, was convicted of trying to cover up the rampant and horrific abuse in LA County jails. And after 16 years in office, he left in disgrace and was eventually sentenced to 6 months in prison. Villanueva added jet fuel to the trash fire at the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. He was involved in a cover-up of inmate mistreatment, he incessantly attacked the press, and he even raided the home of an LA County supervisor who was a critic of the department, literally using his law enforcement powers to try to silence another elected official who was exercising their valid oversight function. That's insane. For decades, the LA Sheriff's Department has been rife with literal criminal gangs. They are known for abuse, corruption, and murder. They basically operate as an extra-legal shadow government within law enforcement, enforcing their own twisted rules of how the Sheriff's Department should operate, completely separate from what the public might want or need. It just seems as though there is something special about sheriff's departments and the people who lead them that cause them to be more violent, more abusive, and more corrupt than normal police, which already have plenty of their own problems.
Conover doesn't hold back here either, as he shouldn't. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/tytsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.